Well, it took a little while, but now have all the bits and pieces that make up the internal superstructure of the building. We have our column bases, our column tops, and our roof beams, and even our little individual plates that go in between each of these components. And a very small waste pile. On the left here, we hold a piece of styrene against all three. Make sure that they're all tight at the same angle. And then holding tight, we repeat the process on this side, cutting along the existing outside two, or using them as a guide. We make our first cut and pull them away and cut through. Here. And as before, just touch up a little bit, make sure it's square, and hold tight against the left side. We check the right side. Oh, look at that, just perfect. And then we take our next piece and repeat the process. Since it's already got an angle cut from our previous cut, we clean it up, dress it up a little bit, and oh, look at that, perfect on that side. And we repeat the process, cutting off the waste on this end here. And there we are. Look at that. Almost no touch-up required at all. And every once in a while I'll do a double check with a bunch of beams and line them up with the paper template. Take a close look, make sure that everything is lining up and matching our 1 to 12 template. Looks good. We're now going to start assembling all these bits and pieces, and this is the glue that I'll be using. Plastruc Welding non-toxic styrene plastic solvent cement. I started using this a couple years back. I wasn't fond of the smell and the toxicity of the standard styrene glues, and I came across this and ordered a few bottles. It'll probably last me a lifetime. Well, here we have our pile of neatly stacked structural components, 8 full-sized sections. There we are. You can see how they all go together. There you see the wider column where it joins with the narrower column, and the lip where we're going to have the crane rail, and joining with the roof beams. And here we see where there's a plate between the roof beams, and going down to the other side is the plate on top of the wide column as well. Because our building is cut along an angle where it meets the wall, there's one extra support column here that doesn't make it quite all the way across. And we've got this extra half section that will probably be cut at some point here where it meets the wall. And we'll have to figure out a way to support that either on the wall or with an extra column, so that that section of the roof doesn't droop a bit. Here's an assembly of a portion of the structure to give you a feel for how all these parts will go together. The roof and column sections are spaced about 4 inches apart, and the crane rails, which are these evergreen 3/8 inch I-beams, are sitting on the ends of the wider column sections, That worked out pretty well. Just about the same size, the difference between the two column sections and the width of the I-beams. Well, I certainly could have assembled all of the major beam and column subassemblies together with the crane rails to form a single structure, but fortunately I realized that had I done that, it would have been near impossible to paint the structure. Each one of these beams has 8 sides, if you count, the insides of the webs and the caps here on the ends of the columns. Really would have been impossible to get paint in efficiently. So I painted all of these sections together at once with a spray paint. This is Krylon Color Master Deep Gray. It's quite a good color. It's closely resembled a painted steel. One of the other advantages of painting the sub-assemblies separately or before assembly of the final structure is that it allowed me to paint the crane rails a different color, and oftentimes you'll see this for safety. They will paint those crane rails a bright yellow. So I took the 3/8 inch I-beams and glued 2 together end to end with a little splice in the middle to make sure it's solid. Made 2 of them because the building is about, depending on which side you're on, 24 to 30 inches long. So I've got 1 for each side. And I used Krylon again. In this case, it's just, there it is, sun yellow, the color. And it's nice and bright. It looks like safety yellow that you'll find in many industrial applications. Of course, the downside to all this is that in order to glue the crane rails to the columns, let's see, like this, I have to scrape away some paint. Small price to pay, I think, to have a cool looking structure if I ever choose to peel off the roof and look inside. So I've marked off the area every 3 7/16 of an inch. There's a mark here where I have to sand off a bit of the paint so that the glue would adhere, and I'll have to do the same thing here and sand off a bit of the paint at the cap here so that we get a good bond between the crane rails and the column caps. Alright, here we are with our crane beams and columns, having the paint scraped away, and I do mean scraped away. This Krylon paint is designed to adhere to plastic, so it's more than just trying to do this with a little sanding. I needed to take a good stiff X-Acto blade and basically peel off layers of paint to get down to the bare styrene. But now that that's done, we're good to go to assemble our structure. Here's a sneak peek of what the completed superstructure will look like once it's done. This is about halfway through. You see 4 of the sub-assemblies connected to the crane rails. I'm finding though that there's very little contact area between the crane rails and the beam column sub-assemblies, and because of that it's a little bit wobbly. So what I'm going to do is hold off on completing this and wait till I have the siding to put on the outside walls, which will really firm it up before continuing with the rest of the sub-assemblies.